Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. We got ourselves another music show from our Newburyport studios. All excited about this. Out of the Granite State, Timbear.
I brought you something close to me. I left with something you see through your head. You're my touch. There's nothing to do but believe. Just believe, just breathe. Just breathe. Another day, just believe in another day. Another day, just breathe. You should be used to it by now. Another day, just believe in another day. Another day, just breathe. You should be used to it by now. Just breathe. Lying in my bed, staring at the ceiling, I forget how to breathe. It's the strangest feeling, and you forget how to breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just breathe.
Timbear in the house. How are you, man? What's going on?
Thanks for having me, Drew.
Good to see you,
Good
brother.
to be back. Good to be back.
All right, sounding good in here.
Thanks.
It's got a couple new ones. You've been telling me you've been writing a lot, huh?
Yeah, so that one, that's called Breathe, and it's actually a cover, but it's very much my own rendition. So the original artist is an electronic artist, so it was like back in the era of early 2000s where everything electronic was techno.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so it's that I've very much turned into my own song. The original doesn't have the breathing and the melody or like so it's check out the original. It's a great little dance track, but mine is it's very much my own thing.
Very cool. Yeah. You got there's as always with you. I know you take a lot of pride in the other stuff going on. So why don't you tell everybody what we got here?
Yeah. So let's see. I got a looping pedal at my feet, so that is really the secret to my sauce of building full tracks and kind of being able to go off on those little melodic tangents, and which for me is like one of my I just love being in those moments of guitar harmonies or and I know that's not always like the to the point all the time. Sometimes I'm just having fun, and I think that's okay.
Yes, but it's what you like.
Yeah, and the looping pedal, it's really opened up a lot of doors. So when you see me using that, it's nothing's pre-recorded, and I take a lot of joy in building the tracks. So,
Ooh, I like that. That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yes, building the tracks.
Yeah.
Very good. You tonight you have made it through. Congratulations! You made it to the second round of Seabrook Idol, which I didn't even know you were. I've known you from this show before. I didn't even know you were part of the competition until I saw you at the first round, and you made it on through. Congratulations!
Thank you. I'm grateful to be moving on. I've never done a competition like this at all.
Yeah.
So it was a completely new experience for me.
What made you make the jump?
You know what? I like challenging myself, and I'm really into, music for me is really all about growth and personal development, and and I do like challenging myself and doing ththings that I wouldn't typically do, or most people when they heard me entering a competition, they're like, really? Like, because I'm not a competitive person, especially within music. I'm more the communal, supportive type that really likes sharing with people. So being in a competition is very it's new and it's different. But I've already with the one experience, I learned so much. Yeah, there's a lot to learn there.
And it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe in the actual artist lounge, it is. I don't think it is, but it is very communal still, right? I mean, it seems like everybody's really rooting for everybody. Yes, everybody hopes that they can be in your spot and they got through to the next round, but it seems like everybody's there supporting each other, which is nice.
Definitely. And I think it's just the nature of the heightened environment in terms of everyone's aware that there's stuff at stake. But no.
There's 3 judges there. That's different for somebody like you. You're not used to...
It was certainly a different experience. One that I'm grateful for because they were really being constructive and giving useful feedback. So it wasn't, there wasn't just a bunch of jerks up there saying, you're terrible. So it was a very useful experience. And amongst the musicians, everyone was super friendly, and, it was a great networking event. Being able to meet people, and then, in meeting Francois and seeing you again. It was a really great event that I'm glad I challenged myself, but it certainly was a challenge at certain points. For sure.
Well, now you're coming back.
I am with a different approach this time.
Are you going to switch it up? You already know?
I do, in terms of, so it's an interesting, the competition, it's very much an entertainment competition. And that sounds, maybe obvious, but you only have a short window to entertain, and with that comes awareness of where the crowd is at and how to grab people and how to kind of grab the environment. And that's affected by the people who go before you, which you were there last night. You saw the amount of talent that was in the room. I mean, there's following up some of these big vocal performances was something I wasn't accustomed to following anybody, let alone someone with such levels of talent. So
I love that you took the complete plunge into something that you're not familiar with.
I was grateful you were there, though. I was grateful to have a familiar face because
just that aspect of it.
But also You're a supportive guy. You've always been supportive of me, so just having that one little
You should
bit.
see me at the judges' table. I'm ruthless. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you're gonna be there next week, right? On the judges' table? Or?
No, I am. I think it pretty much until the last two. I think I'm judging at the end of the month. So
okay. Well, I hope to make it that far, and it'd be great to see you on the other end. But
I hope. I hope Jay's okay. And I think Jay has. I emceed the first round because Jay Pizarros, the usual guy, was sick, and I hope he's all right. I'm assuming I'm not doing the second round, but I don't know if he's got something kind of rough or what. I know it's rough because he loves that, so it would have been hard for him to
miss it.
Say no to
But well, congratulations to. I mean, you're always available to step in, Drew. I got to say that. You know, since I've been on the show, my family and my friends have become fans of yours.
Oh, well, thank you.
And we're noticing we really admire your hustle and your willingness. I mean, you're passionate about what you do, so you love to step in, right? But
it's true. Especially for people that I care about, like Francois. He would do it for me. So
well, I see you do it all over the seacoast and all over this area. So I mean, your hard work doesn't go unnoticed.
Well, thank you. Yeah, let's keep going on that theme for a little bit. No, just kidding.
Well, no, it's true. I mean, you do all these interviews and we don't ever quite get to see who Drew is or all that all that you are. So
yeah. It's actually been pitched to me. A couple of my good friends that are also musicians that come on this show. They're like, I want to do a show where we switch seats. I want to ask you the question.
Yeah, honestly, I would be very interested and would be curious.
It might happen this year. We'll see.
So, I mean, you're an interesting dude who's doing clearly what he's passionate about, and also you just make being in this seat very easy, which is a skill, but it's also just a way of your presence too. So I mean, it's
that is the goal. If people are stressed out, it usually doesn't lead to good shows.
No, I had my first radio experience here last year, and it was just great. But I wanted to make sure to compliment you when I came back on.
Thank you, sir.
That that your work is awesome, and we're having fun watching it. And
very sweet of you to say.
Always learning about new artists on here too.
It is. I got a lot of that actually over the. I don't know if it's like momentum of the show or what. Maybe it's just kind of just maybe it's not a networking thing. You just meet more people and it naturally happens. But a lot of people were actually binging on Christmas break. I got quite a few, at least a handful of people that said we just like sat down, connected it to the Chromecast or whatever, and we just watched a bunch of musicians that we had never heard.
Yeah, you've got your own TV show. I mean,
it's cool.
It's cool that it can be like cast on TV and stuff, and people are sitting around watching it. And it's interesting how that comes in waves too.
Yeah.
And you're an artist just as much as we are on this side. So
I try to make it clear to separate myself from you guys. I don't like putting myself with you pros that play out there all the time. It's a next level. I have a lot of admiration for people that can go out there and do that on as a full-time gig. It's incredible.
But it's a different art to be on that side, and I just wanted to call some attention to it at least this time.
Thank you. And while you gave a shout out to the TV side, I should say all that work, Maeve Power, our producer back there, she. I have nothing to do with. I just talk to people. She makes all the stuff look good, and she's taking it to a nice level here. So
yeah, no, it's good. It's good teamwork here, and it's always. I always feel very welcome coming in. The staff is always super nice. And
there's candy.
Yeah, that goes a long way. I got a sweet tooth. But yeah, man, I'm glad to be back, and I've got some new music, as you had mentioned earlier. I've got an EP coming out soon enough. There's yet to be named. I'm playing with a few names. Okay. But I've got about five tracks they're ready to be put out to Spotify, and they're on SoundCloud right now. If you wanted to find my stuff on SoundCloud, you could. But I'm kind of like testing the waters with some of it and building up that confidence for a widespread release. But yeah, it was a good time to be invited on because I've got some new stuff in the works. I'm doing this competition.
Yeah,
I still am maintaining.
We didn't even know when we were going to do the show if you're going to make it through or not. I was thrilled that you made it through because I had nothing to do with it. I was just emceeing for the night. So I said, "This is a much better show now that you're on to round 2."
I was thrilled to make it through. No spoilers, I guess, but it wasn't. It wasn't my best performance. So it was one of those things where you go in with. excited and,
Yeah.
and wanting to do your best. And then with the looper, if your master loop, the first one doesn't go as well, then you're in this position. I found myself there last night.
Yeah.
And I revisited our interview from last year, and some of the stuff that we had talked about actually came up last night, of me doing too much or going too long or needing to shave stuff. Like, it always happens. So but it was a really interesting experience. To even not do my best in that environment. It was like,
Oh, I think I remember just some of the chatter. I don't know if they said this on the mic or if it was just chatter afterwards, but I remember, and this is like a good compliment too, when discussing like who stays and who goes. I remember very distinctly them saying, I want to hear more from him, which is,
I'm grateful.
Even if you didn't feel like it was your best performance, there was enough there where they're like, I like the brand or whatever. I like so
that makes me feel nice. Thank you.
I think maybe they didn't say, maybe that was just kind of the after talk going on, but yeah, I definitely heard that a few times, so that's a good compliment, I always think.
It's nice to hear, but I'm also like, I'm aware. I've gotten to the point where I can tell when I'm playing well and when I'm playing not so well. And
it's a new room. I'm sure you're used to doing controlling more of your sound because you're such a you got moving parts.
There are some moving parts. But I think it was more of it, and the biggest part I think was understanding the competition in that.
You got a whole new outlook on it now.
Yeah. It's really it's about song selection. It's about presentation of the specific song in that moment, and what can you bring to this 3.5 minutes or 2.5 minutes, whatever it may be. And it's not. I'm so used to approaching shows calmly and easing into my set. So I'll play a little Dave Matthews in the beginning, and something light and accessible, and not too complicated, not too big of a vocal.
Yeah.
And this competition, you should be going big.
No time for that.
Yeah, right. And it's and it was great. I got to shout out the rest of the artists again, because there were some really great vocalists.
Yeah.
And those who are listening, you should definitely check out some of those, or check out the Idol itself.
Tuesday nights and I think it takes us all through January. I think it's every Tuesday in January.
Right. Yeah. So no, it's a great competition, and I love that place too. Reds is a really nice place to do it. So
yeah, it is. It's great. So some of these you teased us. You got some new songs. Any of them coming out here?
Yeah.
Play one?
I'll play one right now.
Right.
This one is called La Fin du Monde. It's actually a song I wrote in French.
Okay.
So.
All right, Timbear live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive, with a new one.
Je ne comprends pas le monde aujourd'hui. Je ne comprends pas le monde, la guitare et moi.
De temps en temps, l'éléphant vient le matin. Il est peu la fin du monde.
Je ne comprends pas le monde aujourd'hui. Je ne comprends pas le monde. La guitare in me. De temps en temps, l'éléphant vient le matin. Il a peur la fin du monde. La fin du monde. La fin des éléphants. La fin du monde. La fin du monde.
Timbear, live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Very nice, my man.
Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Do you speak?
Oh, just un peu. Just a little. I grew up, in New Hampshire and had to take it in school, or didn't have to, but it was my choice. I probably should have learned Spanish.
What year is that? Like in the middle school years? Or,
yeah, middle school years, and I continued on a little bit, but it's funny. Every time I went to a French-speaking country, they're like, no, English is fine. So I never really got to use it. So this is kind of an excuse to use French.
Yeah.
But also being out here in New Hampshire, we have plenty of French Canadians,
No doubt.
But no, it's just something. I actually wrote it in a mumble at first. So I wrote the guitar and then was kind of like playing around with some sounds. I was like, some French lyrics might work here. And
Wow.
And so and I kind of mumbled the phonetics of the lyrics and then filled in the blanks afterwards. But it's essentially the fin de mois means the end of the world, and it's about an elephant kind of like rolling over in the morning and being like, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh wait, I'm an elephant. Like it's kind of just all my songs are kind of messages to myself to like relax a little bit and to not take life so seriously, or to most of my songs are messages to myself in one way or another. So
It's an interesting. I like that way of saying it.
Yeah.
That's fun. So I can imagine that's probably how you write a lot of songs. I'm just thinking how your brain works. You just kind of playing with the guitar, you're liking sounds, and then kind of something just comes to you.
Yeah.
Is that kind
Yeah. No, it's
it must be a refreshing moment for you when that stuff happens.
It's
like,
exciting, and it keeps me. It's why I love doing what I do, in terms of pursuing music, because it's always so exciting to stumble across something that you're doing. And there's a lot of artists like John Frusciante, some Chili Peppers guys. Like they'll call it they download from the I don't even know what they call it. They say they get downloads. So like Flea and Frusciante will talk about the music being in the room before they even got there.
Oh yeah.
So the song Snow, they said they just showed up and started playing, and that's what came out.
That's the Heyo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And it,
Yeah.
But it's so I kind of believe that that's the case. Based off of like my inclinations and years of listening, something comes through, and I'm lucky that with the looper, I get to kind of test the waters and see how it sounds with everything. As we discussed before, I'm always shaving stuff off and adding stuff, but more recently, I've been working with recording software and have been able to make a lot more choices, and really I'm starting to narrow a lot of my songs down and kind of define them better, and be ready to put them out. So.
Do you find does the looping, and I mean, then when I was watching you, because you're a great picker and everything too, and do you find you can do almost like play different versions of, like, would I hear different versions of that song because you might take the guitar in a different way even though you get the same kind of beat in the back?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I play based on what I hear in the room a lot of the time.
Would you ever mimic that the same way? Would I ever hear that version exactly the same?
So now that I'm going back to making those choices and kind of defining the song a little bit more rigidly, definitively, that is pretty much the version it's pretty close, although you'll hear I'll harmonize sometimes with myself using this second mic here, or I might add a little guitar run at the end, like a little solo over the top. I played a cocktail hour this weekend where that song was perfect.
Yeah.
And at the end, I was like, you know what? People are enjoying this. Let me go on a little guitar run. So there could be a solo in there on top of all that stuff. But I think that's I've worked pretty hard on kind of putting some parameters around it. So I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
That being said, I think the next one that many of my songs, you're right, are different based on where I am relative to them. So where my relationship to my songs is based on where I am and what purpose or what function they're serving. I've had slow songs turn in up tempo. I've had up tempo songs turn low, and it's kind of sometimes that can happen, and the song completely opens itself to a new function in my life or a new meaning. And I think it's important to be open to those things because you have to service the song in a lot of ways, but also it's about my relationship. My artistry or my music is about my relationship with music.
Yep.
And what you see, or whenever you see me playing, it's the best way to describe where I am or who I am and how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Which is
no doubt.
It's really fulfilling to be able to express yourself alternatively.
You're not one of those artists who you can kind of go see, and I know they're usually not my favorites, but you know what I'm talking about when you go and you see somebody who's kind of that artist has had a bad day and they're gonna play not packing it in. It's the wrong word. It's disrespectful, but you know what I mean when it's just like
you can go through the motions.
Yes, that's exactly the saying I was going to say.
You can certainly go through the motions. And to touch on last night, so playing choosing a radio, I played High and Dry by Radiohead last night at the competition. And it was a song that I know I'm comfortable with. But I've also played it as many times that in that setting, my attention was in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And it may have been, my lack of, or the poignancy of the performance may have lacked based on sorry,
I love that you thought so much about what you've thought a lot about that for first performance.
Sure.
Probably because there is so much. Like you get the feedback for one, which you're not used to getting. I mean, you get crowd feedback, but judges is different feedback.
Yeah, and I don't often get that. You basically only hear the good stuff. Which
true.
Is so you kind of convince yourself that the good everyone's just being nice. So to be honest, like to hear some criticism and constructive criticism is for me makes me want to work harder.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to get better, and it makes me want to learn that was a different environment than I was used to performing in, and that calls for different stuff. And I think that's fascinating. I've been laughing to myself about some of the so one of the judges said, "Ditch the looper."
Yeah.
And I was like, at first I was like, taken aback by it, being like, oh man. And then I had to laugh at it, because it's such a short window that they get to see you that they don't understand everything. So, no, I mean, it was, it's something that you don't take for granted. You can find reasons to grow, or you can find opportunities in most situations. And especially the bad, I find that those are really good opportunities for growth.
Right. And
I embrace that. I try to embrace that. It's not always easy, but
when you have all the dynamics that you just genuinely bring you joy, and that's what people like to see when they go to see a show. They like to see, who is this artist? Like, show us what you like to do. And it's if somebody's doing something they don't want to do, it tends to not be enjoyable. But when you have all of that, can you go play a campfire? Could you sit down with me at a campfire and play and get that adrenaline rush?
Yeah. It's a very different rush, because I certainly, sometimes when I'm playing and producing, building these full songs, I get lost in them and I'm almost floating sometimes on
that's
stage.
The feeling you like.
Yeah, and it's great. But music for me, again, being about growth and connection and community, I love sitting by a campfire and playing with people. And I think I've also been grateful and had the opportunity to learn from a lot of musicians up the open mic at Earth Eagle North on Thursdays. There's a open mic there where I got to shout out all the musicians who go there have taught me so much, and I'm constantly learning, growing through, experiencing those things with them. And I guess there's no bad place for music. There's always a spot in my life, and acoustic stuff is where I come from, so I can definitely go back to that. But for me, it's all about what the room calls for. It's what's the energy in the room, what is going to appease the atmosphere, and that's usually my primary focus. And I find when I go in with a set idea, like last night, I went in, I'm going to do High and Dry. I'm more likely to go through the motions if I'm set in my ways and I'm set what I'm going to do. I find that I'm not reading the room probably as well as I should be.
It's good, and it's interesting because I was thinking about the first room. I didn't know you. I was walking in expecting to see another friend of mine, friend of the show, Steve Dennis, who I think was sick and called you. Mm-hmm. And so I had talked to Steve literally 24 hours before, was going to go see him. And I think I walked in. I think maybe my first words to you were, "You're not Steve," which is a very weird way to introduce yourself to somebody.
I'm mid-song. I'm like,
Tim,
when you were young.
The story will grow over time. So he stops me mid-song.
No, it happens all the time. I'm always communicating, talking about when you play as much as I do out and about. You are having these internal experiences while you're performing. So you can be performing and singing and have an interaction with someone, and I'm still singing, but I'm making eye contact and like doing facial expressions, and it becomes you become able to communicate, other non-verbally with people. So it's that's all a part of it, and that's how
Did you ever have it must have taken a little while to get full command of everything. Like, when you're talking pedals and everything, I mean, I know you make it look easy now, but it's but I mean, I imagine, like, especially those first couple times, even if you practice it a million times, it's like, okay, now how do I execute it in front of an audience?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's about committing to the song, but it's a huge learning curve with a looping pedal. I would encourage every artist to get one because it's a great practice thing. It'll make you a better guitar player, make your timing better. But it's a thing that you have to commit to. Like, you have to, for me, when I'm playing, I hear the song, and then in a way I'm channeling it. So I hear it in my head, and then I have to go into it. Yeah. So it's in a way you have to find that flow in your own head and just kind of commit. And it's not always clean, and it's sometimes you put yourself, if that first loop is off by the slightest little bit, you're living with it the whole song. Yeah. And it's not easy, but if you're committed, you can get through it, and hopefully have a vocal that supersedes the timing mess up. But it's a huge learning curve. There's a lot of moving pieces that. It is hard. I won't say that I've got a mastery on it because I'm always learning from it, and there's other levels of looping pedals to go to. But it's something that I would encourage for anybody to pursue.
Well, since it's so hard, let's have you do another one.
All right. This one I like. This one is another original. This is called BTS Drifter, And yeah, I guess it's on SoundCloud if you'd like to check it out.
All right, Timbear live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive.
had it all. We never made it out too far without taking a loan out of my heart. We were making our way all across the USA. We did it alone, no calling home. Never meant to fall, never meant to draw the final straw. There we were, and now here we are. If I could take it back, nobody else would know, 'cause it doesn't matter. It's time to let your temper flow.
Timbear, live at Drew's house. Very nice, my man.
Thank you.
Very soothing in here. Again, you can see Tim tonight, and he's actually, if you want to head over up to Seabrook Idol 2024, Tim has made it to the second round. So he is one of the now final 10. Top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm grateful to be there. And
yeah. I am not on the I'm not planning to work tonight, but I'm not one of the judges, which I have been before, but I think I'm just going to go for fun.
No, that's great, man. I
enjoy seeing you.
It's a good community there at Reds. Like it's a welcoming atmosphere. So I encourage everybody to
like
go.
you said that word networking earlier too. You get to meet a bunch of new musicians and
absolutely
pass cards around. It's always a good thing, I think.
Absolutely.
We're gonna end before this show flies by. I know, but we have to end with how's Mookie?
Oh, thanks for asking. Mookie, my dog, is great, man.
Yeah.
He's 5 years old now, and he teaches me a lot too. He's great. Drew and I both have dogs named Mookie.
Both 5 too.
Yeah, and interesting.
Yeah.
He's great, and I'm writing more songs about him too.
Yeah.
That I didn't play here tonight, but. God, we're lucky to have we're lucky to have those guys.
They are, man. I still got the 15-year-old too.
That's
still
awesome. That's inspiring. Mookie's my first dog, and he just kind of like 5 is his most mature, and he's fully developed now. And it kind of hit me the other day. It's like he'll die someday. You know what I mean?
It's me too. I had this. So I went to the vet the other day for like it's around the holidays. We do the annual dog checkup, and they said, so next year, 6 senior dog. And I said, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, no.
My puppy?
What do you mean? Yeah.
There's the puppy in the family.
Yeah.
But, and then she did say, oh, no, well, it is different these days. 6 was always senior dog based on what dogs used to live to. And just like humans, that world has changed a bit over time.
Absolutely.
Medicines and technology and all that. So hopefully many, many more years left.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, that scared me with my Mookie, too.
I mean, 15 would be great, but it's we're grateful for the time we have with him. That's for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, Henry's the 15-year-old. I thought this summer he kind of, I think just sick, but had a bad week, not getting up, not going out, all that stuff that immediately your brain just I think back to all those stories of people who had told me, it just kind of happens fast. It's like one day it's a long walk, and then like the next day it's like that's it. And I was like, oh my God, is this that moment for me? And so I was getting all like starting to build those emotions up, and then bounce back, and here we are in a new year.
I'm grateful he's still around. I mean, that's Sorry, I just connected with the human. I was like, I gotta come over and give you a hug.
No,
it's tough putting ourselves in that position, but we, they're great, and
nothing better.
They don't know us anything, but they're,
What's that saying that I know it's a bumper sticker, but I think it's also just a saying where it's like their dogs, their only fault is they don't live long enough. Right?
Yeah,
so true.
That's right.
Mookie, and yours was after Mookie Betts, right?
That's right.
So that was our situation.
Yeah,
too.
Mookie. I mean, he was a great player, and now
you're a baseball guy. I'm a baseball favorite player.
There's no loyalty in baseball.
I know. And I don't blame him on that one. I blame how do you not?
It's like you don't even know the team anymore.
I know.
We've just gotten rid of so many of our core players.
I know.
It's
even if business wise it is the right call. Like I'm hearing a lot. I hear a lot of baseball guys that are smart guys that say Xander was the right move. Should have got money wise. It wouldn't have made sense to keep that guy at that age. Whatever. It's not as fun when you grow up with these guys. It's like they're part of your team,
Totally.
I don't know.
But business-wise, you think it would, like the fans love, like the idiots. You remember the Red Sox team that was coined the idiots, they're called. And it was like a part of the family.
Right.
And we all packed that stadium for years when they were there because you'd think it would be a good business move to keep people around so you can connect with them and show up to support. I mean... But it's the nature of money. It's the nature of Moneyball, which hopefully wears itself out. And people realize that baseball is entertainment also.
Yes.
And we want stories, and we want interaction.
Every one of the idiots had a story.
Yeah, definitely. In their own like little kooky thing in the dugout, which was really entertaining and fun to watch. And that's baseball is about fun, man. Too.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Always a pleasure, Tim, to have you on.
Really, thanks so much, Drew.
Timbear in the house as usual. If you go to Seabrook Idol, go root for him. It's going to be fun. He's in the top 10. We all hope he can make a run through tonight and do his thing. If not, that whole thing's not about winning, as we mentioned.
No, and I'll be doing an ode to an artist that got their start here in Seabrook. So if you guys are
a local Seabrook artist?
Well, they were from Vermont originally, but was found on the Hampton Beach Seabrook Strip, and has gone on to have a great career. So
what a storyline! I like that.
Yeah, right. You guys will have to come and check out and see who I'm talking about.
There you go. Very cool. Thank you to May Power. Thank you to Sarah Hayden, Maya Gassman, Ryan Rothberg, our small but mighty team here in Newburyport. We did like a 2-minute, you want to play us out? You got a little jam or something you want to play us out with? Something fun?
Sure. Absolutely.
Whatever you're feeling here to take us out. Again, Timbear, go find him on Instagram at Timbear. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head.
Timbear, one word, _ music is my Instagram, but Timbear is the name that you'll find me under.
Okay, go find him. Thank you, Tim. It was a pleasure as always. Thank you, everybody. We're off and running here in the new year. Hope you're all doing well. Live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. We'll see you next time.